Look, more impressive or more worrisome for the Rams on Monday night? Was the Ravens more impressive or the Rams just kind of more confusing on where they are?
Well, I think it was a little bit of both, but I'll lean toward the Ravens. I mean, it was so impressive just watching that offense operate, and I thought it was very telling after the game when the safety for the Rams, Eric Weddle, was like, the most confusing part was, not trying to tackle Lamar or tackle Mark Ingram. It was trying to find the ball.
Yep.
And that just tells you kind of where that offense is. And T-Bob, before you gloat and before you start asking questions.
Whoa, Boog, it ain't even like that, even though I didn't hear you give me a shout-out. So.
Right, yeah. Well, I did. I was referring to food. Maybe you didn't catch it. But Lamar is outstanding, and the way they use him and what kind of command he has of that offense was just simply amazing. And as I said on the broadcast, guys, I think you guys know where I've stood on Lamar. I have not been a believer, but, to see it and to study the film for a week and to really dive in and not just be a fan, but kind of go behind the scenes and to spend 30 minutes with him and talk to him. And, I couldn't have been more impressed with what I saw and what I heard from him.
Is Greg Roman getting the same type of reputation in the NFL that Joe Brady has in college football and what he's done to Baltimore's offense? As much as Lamar Jackson, kind of like the Burrow effect down here with Joe Brady and Lamar Jackson with Greg Roman. What's the thought on Baltimore's OC?
Well, I'm not going to go that far because, we've seen Greg Roman do this before with Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
So I think what we're seeing is, when you give Greg Roman a blank canvas and you give him a quarterback that's different, maybe than anything we've ever seen, he can really paint a nice painting. And I think that, people have to be careful in saying that, hey, Greg can do this with anybody because there's only, I've only seen one Lamar Jackson, and Colin Kaepernick was a unique talent at 6'3" and 230 and could run and throw. So I don't know if I'd say that he has the same effect. What Joe Brady is doing, I think, can translate a lot easier because, you can find – 4 or 5 receivers. There are quarterbacks out there that can deliver and be coached up. Let's not forget last year, Joe. Nobody even thought about Joe Burrow. Now all of a sudden he's the first pick of the draft and on the cover of Sports Illustrated. So I just think that it just goes to show you what coaching can do and what a season of improvement that Joe Burrow has had can do.
Boog, one thing that I found fascinating watching Monday night's game, Lamar Jackson was incredible, but it is the offense as a whole, right? Are the Ravens kind of exploiting a potential weakness in the NFL right now going against the grain? Because at a time when everybody's playing nickel, when everybody is playing more and more pass coverage, trying to figure out these spread NFL attacks, the Ravens seem to be going
trap option.
Maybe not old school, but yeah, like a lot of like you said, Eric Weddle trying to find the ball. And if you know what it felt like, Boog? It felt like just a ground and pound Monday night, like somebody in the UFC sitting on top of the other fighter and just beating their face relentlessly.
Okay, well, that's one way to put it. I don't know if I could quite put it that graphically on national television.
No, I don't know that play.
But to your point, the NFL has turned into basketball on grass. Everybody's going spread and throwing quick screens. And I think what the Ravens are doing is going against the grain and saying, you know what, let's go back to what football was with Vince Lombardi. And, back with USC with student body left, student body right, and just let's line up and let's, at its core, whoever we play when the game is over, they're going to feel us, all right? Their defensive line is going to be beat up. Their linebackers are going to be hit. Their safeties are going to have to tackle running backs. And going against the grain, I wouldn't even call it that. I'll just say that they're just going back to what football was when football was created.
Mm-hmm.
And at its core, football is about hitting somebody in the mouth and making them not want to get up and come back and be hit again. And that's what the Ravens are doing offensively. They're doing the same thing defensively. So they're playing football the way the game was created. That's the way I feel. And I tried to paint an analogy, man, with that. And, for people who don't remember what football used to be, for us older guys, it was kind of like watching The Wire. The Wire and Melrose Place. It was like, looking at a grimy, gritty, robust, just mentally tough unit in Baltimore. And then you got LA. They want to wear the yellow uniforms. They want to be out in Hollywood. And,
the Kardashians were there.
Yeah, exactly. It's 70 degrees, and everybody's got sunglasses on. They're getting their head beat in. So that's kind of
that was awesome.
That's kind of what it looks like.
Book, so I've asked you this a couple times this year, but with the loss now, like, are the Rams done for this season?
Yeah, I mean, even if they squeak in the playoffs, I don't think that they're going to be able to create or make any noise. They're a flawed football team because of the offensive line. And T-Bob, you'll appreciate this. As much as we talk about how good teams are, and Mahomes and Russell Wilson and Lamar, if your offensive line is terrible and you don't have a good group up front, then you have no shot. And I think you're seeing that with the Rams. Whitworth is still playing adequately, but he's not what he was, and nor should he be. He's almost 50 years old. and you look at the other guys on the inside, they don't have the continuity. So I think overall, the offensive line is not as good, and then conversely, the quarterback hasn't played anywhere near what he did a couple years ago. So it's a season of flux in L.A. It's amazing how last year, if you touch Sean McVay's cloak, that you got a job.
I know.
Now, nobody even who's Sean who? No, I don't know him. Like, are you kidding me? Come on, man.
I mean, and with all the draft picks they've traded, like, I don't know how the future looks in LA right now. So they're at a bit of a crossroads. Book, if I told you to name a top four, is it Patriots, Ravens, Niners, Saints? Maybe. I mean, I'm looking at it here. The Seahawks maybe bear mentioning in there.
I'd go Patriots, Ravens. Give me a top six. I'd go Patriots, Ravens, Chiefs.
Okay.
When they're healthy, and then on the other side, I would go 49ers, Seahawks, Saints.
Yeah. Who do you have one team in each conference that you think kind of stands clearly above the rest, or you think that's the grouping?
If I had one, I just gave you six. Now you're gonna try to make me narrow six.
I'm just trying to see where your favorites are at going into. I mean, Book, we're getting near playoff time. Okay, how about this, man? You won Super Bowls. You won multiple Super Bowls. What is this portion of the season like? Because, I mean, you have the Saints team. They're going into Atlanta, short week, Thanksgiving. This Atlanta team just beat them, but they're not a very good team. Like, what's kind of the environment in the locker room like as you're playing for one seeds and you're playing for potential Super Bowls down the road?
Here's the thing about it, T-Bob, is that you start to see the teams that really can see the light at the end of the tunnel because they make that push. Like that last little push, players start to do some of the things that they weren't doing earlier in the season. Teams start to win games. Teams start to make plays, and that's where that separation happens, usually this week, next week, and then the following week. And then teams start to set themselves up. That way you can kind of get a week off that last week. That way you don't have to play all your guys. And so I think that's what it's about. Like the Saints, the Seahawks, the 49ers, they're starting to think, who do we want to make sure is playing at a high level? Okay, so now we need to get everybody healthy. We need to get everybody ready to go. Let's start putting in our best plays. That way when we get to January, because all you want to do is get in the dance.
Yeah.
That's all you want to do. You want to get in the dance. And once you get in there, once you're locked in, then it's anybody's show. And I think, you throw the records out. It doesn't matter whether you're the first or second seed. Anybody can be beat. And I think that's what you see right now. Guys can look down at the end of that tunnel and you start to see a little light because it's been a long year. Like we've been practicing since mid-April, okay? And now it's toward the end of the season and we can finally see that light shining there. It's kind of like when you're trying to lose 15 pounds, T-Bob, and you're on pound number 12, and you can see 15 even though it's a Twinkie or two away.
Yeah,
like
that's it.
That's kind of how you feel right now.
Hey, as long as those Twinkies are between 12 and 8 p.m., right? I mean, intermittent fasting, here we go.
Well, that's not good. I mean,
it's just falling off me, Book. I can eat whatever I want. I can only eat between 12 and 8.
If you're gonna do intermittent fasting, like it doesn't mean that you eat honey buns and Twinkies.
Yeah.
12 and 8.
What about burritos?
Well, take the burrito out and just eat what's inside the burrito.
Oh, come on, no. I got in a spinach wrap if it makes you feel any better, Book.
Come on.
Saints Falcons tomorrow night, Thanksgiving in Atlanta. What do you think? You think the Falcons go 2-0 on the Saints this year?
I don't trust the Falcons. Do you?
Yeah. No, not at all.
Well,
not at all.
I don't even think the Falcons trust the Falcons. So, Matt Ryan has been up and down. I think the next coach, and you don't call for anybody's job whatsoever unless you're Les Miles. Other than that, I think if you're the Falcons, though, you got to wonder what's going to happen to Dan Quinn at the end of the season, regardless of beating the Saints a couple weeks ago and, making a little run. I mean, the Bucs go in there and the Bucs handle them pretty good. So, you got to wonder what's going to happen to Dan Quinn in that Falcons unit.
Monday Night Football in Seattle on Monday for the Seahawks hosting the Vikings. Boog will be on the call alongside Joe Tess. Happy Thanksgiving to you and the fam. Talk to you next week, man.
Same to you. I got one question to ask you guys.
Yeah.
Are you guys turkey guys or ham guys?
Turkey. Smoked turkey.
Well, I mean, that's a little disappointing.
Let's say I can only put one on the plate. I would prefer both, but I'd have to go ham if I could only throw one on the plate.
T-Bob,
sure.
You and I just developed a bond, and we just had a
Wow,
moment.
it's about time.
I mean,
man.
there you
3
go.
years in. Thank you.
I used to love books so much growing up,
Some
and so to
common
finally
ground.
reach this moment.
Some common ground.
I like to
between
thank
the two.
everybody that helped me get here. Book, you do it like this. I get every single Thanksgiving item, and I kind of just swirl it together into one giant mixture, and then I pour gravy over the top of everything.
I mean, you almost act like you're a baby and you're eating baby food.
Yeah. I don't want to know where the green bean casserole ends and the potato begins. I want it all to just be the same thing.
I like it. Enjoy, fellas.
All right, happy
Later, Boog.
Thanksgiving.